Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. Pursuant to the governor's executive orders, the governor has made disaster declaration in response to COVID-19 in accordance with 5 ILCS 127E. The head of the public body has determined that an in-person meeting of all individual council members under the Open Meetings Act is not practical or prudent. The Chief Administrative Officer, Joe Wade, will attend in person. The council members of the public may continue to attend virtually via Zoom as attendance in the boardroom is not possible. In accordance with the applicable statutes of the state of Illinois and the ordinance of the city of Prospect Heights, notice is hereby given that the city council workshop teleconference meeting of the mayor and the city council of the city of Prospect Heights being held Monday, February 8th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Mayor Nicholas J. Helmer presiding. This meeting will be recorded and available on the city's website. Attendees who wish to speak on agenda or non-agenda items will be provided an opportunity during the teleconference. There is a 5-minute time limit for speakers, during which teleconference meeting it is anticipated that there will be discussion and consideration of, and if so, determine action upon the matters contained in the following.
All right, thank you, Karen. We will have a roll call to determine whether we have a quorum or not. We have 5 aldermen people, and it takes 3 to have a quorum. So, Joanna, would you take the a roll call to determine the quorum?
Yes. Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Alderman Morgan Adams.
Here.
Alderman Dolick.
Here.
Alderman Quinn. Alderman Quinn.
Present.
Alderman Cameron. Here. Alderman Dash.
Here.
All right, thank you. We welcome Alderman Dash, newly found and convinced that this is a good job for her, and the council agreed. So we have a quorum in that we have all 5, all persons present. Joanne, the approval of minutes?
Okay. We have the January 25th, 2021 City Council regular teleconference meeting minutes that we would like the council to approve, please.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Dolick.
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Alderman Dash.
Aye.
Alderman Quinn.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Joe, would you go ahead with the appointment confirmation? That would be item 3 on the list.
Very good, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Yes, as referenced, item 3, appointments, confirmations, and proclamations. Tonight we have the reappointment of William Kearns to the Chicago Executive Airport Board of Directors, effective March 26, 2021.
This is a reappointment, and Bill has served certainly the past 4 years, I believe, and maybe longer. He was also a past city clerk and did a great job. So I am suggesting a reappointment, and we need a vote from the council. Take a roll call, please.
Alderman Morgan Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Dolick.
Hold on, slow down. We did the roll call. Let's do the what do we want to do? The motion to approve the nomination.
So moved.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion. We have a second to approve the nomination. Roll call, please.
Alderman Morgan Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Dolick.
Aye.
Alderman Quinn.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
How many years is the appointment for?
I believe it's a 3-year term.
I will vote no.
Anyone correct me? You will vote no on a 3-year appointment?
Yes.
Okay. That's your prerogative, I suppose. And let's move on to who's next.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Alderman Dash.
Aye.
We have a motion to reappoint Director William Kearns to the Airport Board, and the vote was 4-1. So motion passes. Joe, on item 4?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Public comment on agenda matters. Citizens are asked to identify the agenda item they would like to address and will be provided the opportunity to speak to the issue after its presentation. Madam Clerk, is anyone registered?
No, no one at this time. If anyone's on the call, please introduce yourselves at this time. Please step forward.
And there appears to be none at this time, which brings us to item 5, staff, elected officials, and commission reports. Wherever you would like to begin, Mr. Mayor.
Well, let's start with what I wrote down. How's that? Assistant Finance Director Bob Tannehill.
Thank you, Mayor.
You make your you say you're here, and then you make your comments now. There's no sense back. All right, go ahead, Bob.
I'm here, Mayor, and just a couple of things. We are started city vehicle license mail out to the residents, and over the last week we've had some people paying for those, and we're still working on that. And then we also are working with staff members with the city and directors for the budget for next year. That's what we have right now to report.
All right, thank you very much. City Administrator Joe Wade.
Yes, sir. One item, just for information, we have a public hearing on the Prospect Point Muir Park TIF scheduled this Wednesday at 6:30. And Mr. Mayor, just a brief status report. We are still working on this. We've held 2 joint review board meetings. There's an independent consultant who's been hired by the city and tasked with reviewing the Lexington proposal and also the government district request and looking at a balance sheet on the TIF. So there won't be much of a meeting Wednesday night. That's basically is the presentation. There is an opportunity for public questions or testimony, but we don't expect that since we don't have information. But basically, we're opening this meeting so that we can provide basically what I just told you, and then to continue the meeting to a later date.
All right, thank you. Police Chief Jim Zalaki.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a few things. With the weather we've been having, our officers have been very busy with a lot of accidents and a lot of trying to stay warm out there. And also we've been busy on the inside here doing background checks on our eligible list, trying to fill our spot for one officer position that we have. So that's about all I have going on right now.
All right, thank you. Director of Building and Development, Dan Peterson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you very much. Tonight, I have one item that I'd like to bring up. A couple of years ago, the city leased a large-scale scanner printer, and that was to assist us in scanning all of our files down in the file room and get them in an electronic storage, ultimately to link those up with our GIS system. Staff has tried to take on that project internally, and it has not been able to move forward as our schedules and our permits have dictated our focus on doing that part of our job. Last year, I put in the budget for $3,200 for a paid high school intern or an intern to help with this project. We have identified a candidate, Mr. Jordan Johnson, a senior at Hersey High School. Jordan, if you remember, spent some time with us summer or so ago, part of the District 214 Career Discovery Program. Fine young man, highly motivated, a quick learner, and a self-starter. And we would like to bring him on in this budgeted role for a paid internship not to exceed $3,200. This would provide about approximately 7 hours a week of time, and on days when the high school's not in session, a few more hours, and it would make a great impact on getting our records electronically filed and getting our storage room back in order, because we won't have to have all that paper. Anything we do discard will be done in accordance to the Public Records Act Disposal Act. So I'm just advised and seeking for council concurrence to bring Jordan on to take on this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Director of Public Works, Mark Roscoe.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Quick report, winter is here, as we all know it. It's been cold, snow, all the above. The wintry mix we're all coming to dread. Plowing and salting continues. Salting is a real balancing act between the needs for the public and the safety on the roads and not harming the environment and any, more than we can help it. So we really try to balance that out. Mayor, we've had, over the last months, we've had residents drop off cookies and donuts occasionally. The crew really enjoys it. Last week, we had one of our longtime residents drop off a lunch for us, sandwiches from Deli for You. It was greatly appreciated. The guys wrote a card to send over to the resident. Little things like that, the guys really get a kick out of. We're working as hard as we can to keep everyone safe and make it through this winter season. That's it, sir.
That's great, Mark. And I'm glad to see your group is appreciated, because I've heard them plow at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I've heard them plow it, all afternoon and then some. And there's more snow coming now. I hate to say it, but it's true. Thank you very much. We've got, who do we have left? Deputy Clerk Schulteis.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Okay. I'm going to save authority to go till the end here, because the alderman should be named next. Michelle Cameron, Ward 1.
Good evening, Mayor. I don't have anything tonight. Thank you, though.
You, Kathleen Quinn, Ward 2.
I don't have any reports other than to just remind people that this is Black History Month and that it's a good time to make note of the contributions of all the people in our community and in the United States, of their contributions that they've made to our country and our community. So that's it.
Thank you. Wendy Morgan Adams, Ward 3.
Yes, I would like to thank Mark Roscoe and his crew for the great job they're doing with the snow plowing and handling of the snow and ice. They've done a great job, and it's really helped to be able to get through the streets and to drive. I really appreciate their hard work. And I also want to comment on Dan Peterson's request for the intern, that I would be in concurrence with having that intern. I think it's a great help to the city at a low cost. And I'm assuming this is through, Mr. Peterson, is this through the end of May or at the end of the school year? That would be the length of time we're talking about?
Yeah, it may last a little bit longer, and anything longer would be, we'd talk during the next budget process. Mr. Johnson has been accepted to the University of Missouri Honors Program for the fall next year, so I'm sure as we get into late spring and summer, his time will be short with us. But right now, it's through this fiscal year, and we'll adjust next fiscal year's budget during the budget process.
I think it's a great idea, and I hope the rest of the council will concur with us as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another welcome to Alderman Danielle Dash, who is here and in charge of Ward 4.
Good evening. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone who's reached out to me. It's truly been a warm welcome, not only from members of the staff, but also members from the community. So it's been really awesome to reconnect. And I do want to thank staff for their help in onboarding me. There's obviously a lot of information to share to get me up to speed so I can serve the city and the ward appropriately, so I thank them for that. I've also been reaching out into the community to get more up to speed in regards to our operations at the airport. I also look forward to meeting with Mark Roscoe and touring our public works facility so I can get a better understanding of those operations as well. So again, thank you to everyone for reaching out, and I appreciate the assistance getting up to speed.
Thank you. Alderman Matt Dolick, Ward 5, rather.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I would say that I am also in support of a part-time intern for the building department. I think that would be a big benefit for them, getting us back on track and keeping up with things. I'd be very much in support of that. Other than that, I have no other report other than to just say with this weather, the bitter cold, and ongoing snow, just look out for each other, check on the elderly, check on your neighbors. If you see a neighbor's car that hasn't been moved for a while, just check up on people and make sure that everyone's safe. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. City Clerk Joanne Prajaniuk.
Good evening, Mayor and everyone. I don't have a report, but I had heard today there are some people in the community having trouble signing up for the vaccination. I'm not sure it's not running too smoothly, so I'm going to try to keep an eye and an ear open about that. And Mark Roscoe, I will keep you in mind for your team. I just might surprise you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. City Treasurer Rich Tibbetts.
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you, Rich. Peter Falcone, he makes the wheels go round, and he is sometimes not really appreciated. Well, I can say that we all appreciate you, Peter. What do you have? Guys, a mute button. Peter?
I think you're mute. I am not muted anymore. I'm the one running the panel, so I do apologize about that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much for remembering me. I have two quick little items I'd like to talk about. Bob Tannehill, Assistant Finance Director, was correct. We are in the vehicle sticker season, and I want to let all the residents know if they do not want to venture out into this cold weather, they can renew their vehicle stickers online. All that information is online for them to conveniently do that for not only their vehicle stickers, but also for their pet licenses, which are for cats and dogs. Also, because it is cold outside, and everyone's mentioned that, the City Hall is working with our police department to get information out to the residents for this cold weather advisory, along with information on warming shelters. Unfortunately, due to COVID, some of the facilities that are normally warming shelters are not operating as warming shelters. Wheeling Township is not open as a warming shelter. The library, of course, is closed for the renovations. So citywide, we're looking at City Hall during our business hours. We're looking at the police department can be a warming shelter, and the Park District. But the Park District is under quarantine restrictions, so they're only allowed 25 people in there at a time. So that information is going to be on our social media, both the police department and the city, and also on our website and into the e-news as well. So please look for that information. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is John O'Driscoll with us tonight?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I have no report for you this evening, Mayor.
All right. What I need to report is I'm removing item 9B and tabling it till everybody understands it. It was a last-minute decision on my part, and that wasn't the way to do it. So I'm tabling item 9B to a future date. I don't have that date yet. So thank you for bearing with me, and we can go back to Joe now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That brings us to the consent agenda. These are items that are routine in nature, and if it's agreeable with council, we will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda, approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a second. Any further discussion?
Well,
Then
were
we'll
we
go-
gonna, Mayor, this is, Michelle Cameron. Did we gonna do the, building development approving for the part-time intern?
You mean
So-
vote on it?
No. We didn't vote, that's 5. We're on, the consent agenda is 6.
Yes.
But you're asking about the intern.
Yeah, which is 5. But
Right.
are we at 6?
Yes, you're on number 6 on the consent agenda, which includes items A and B. And C. Those are all consent items.
So we're going back to 5 then?
Joe, where are we?
We're at 6. I kind of felt, I think we had 2 people supporting the part-time position. If there are others that are against it, we can discuss that, or I think Mr. Peterson was just reporting what the plan was and looking for if there was objections to that. Is that fair, Dan?
That's a fair assessment, Joe. Thank you.
All right, let's go back to that then. We had 2 people in favor. That was Alderman Wendy Morgan, and who else?
That's all.
Alderman Dolick.
Alderman Dolick. At least 3 others that have not voiced their opinion. Can we hear from, say your name first, and then we'll hear from you.
This is Alderman Dash.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, thanks, Danielle. Yeah, I totally agree with it, but I just had one question. How far back are we with scanning? Because Dan, you mentioned that we had a bunch. So how far back, or how backed up are we with scanning?
The building department has never historically scanned. We started scanning files in 2016 to present to keep up to date as best we could, but the plan is to start with our recent files, our ZBA files, our address files, and move backwards to a point in time, as far back as we can get. This is going to be an ongoing project. I would love to say that we would be able to, go back 10 years, but we have to look at what the Open Records Act says of what documents we have to keep, and then just strategically plan for it over the course of the next couple of budget cycles. But if we don't start it now, it's just going to continue to backlog. My administrative assistant, Ms. Mizia, does a wonderful job on all our current permits, scanning them in as they close out. Our plan reviews we're scanning currently, but right now we've got, since the city was incorporated in 1976, we have files that go back that far. So the goal is to slowly and systematically try and get through that.
So this is something that we never tackled then until now.
No, that is correct. And one of the goals of the council a couple of years ago was to be able to improve our GIS capability. So if we needed to do a search on an address, there could be a link that showed a permit history to that address, as well as other issues, either public works, where sewer lines were, where the storm sewers were at, that type of information to have a more effective GIS system, which would help us be more efficient going forward when we do research on properties.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so you're in favor of that?
Yeah, I'm in favor of that. I just needed a little bit of clarification because, I'm thinking of, a whole room stacked with paper, and I didn't realize that we were that backed up. So I'm glad that we're taking an extra step to get it done. So
Anytime you'd like a tour, I'd be more than happy to show you.
Okay, thank you. No problem.
He wants you to do some filing. That's what he's asking for. All right, so I believe we have 3 in favor. Are there 2 left? Or did
This is Alderman Quinn. Alderman Quinn.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, absolutely in favor of it. And, of course, I think it's a really important thing that we have to have done. So hopefully we'll be able to get through it. And if it has to become a longer-term budget item, then I think we have to look at that because it doesn't go away. It gets more, work piled on. So I think it's something that we have to look at for the long term.
All right, is there anyone left that has not addressed this topic yet? You're off, Alderman Dash.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm toggling between the computer audio and phone audio, so I apologize. No, I obviously believe that getting these documents scanned is extremely important, and I feel that having the intern, someone from the community, is also a really awesome opportunity for them to be somewhat involved in seeing some of the operations in our city. So I agree. I believe this is a good opportunity and support Dan's recommendation to continue with the intern.
All right, so we have all 5 people on board. Do we need to have a roll call, or do we need to just say direction to the staff to proceed?
I think we're comfortable with this. We greatly appreciate the council's understanding and support.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Joe, what's next?
That brings us back to item 6, consent agenda. And we had a motion by Alderman Dolick, second by Alderman Morgan Adams to approve the consent agenda.
All right. So we had the motion. Good. Let's have a roll call then.
Alderman Dolick? He might need to unmute himself. Alderman Dolick?
Sorry about that. Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams?
Aye.
Alderman Cameron?
Aye.
Alderman Quinn?
Aye.
Alderman Dash?
Aye.
And welcome on board, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, the consent agenda passes 5-0. All right, Joe, you're dropping down to old business. There is none. New business is yours.
Yes, sir. Item 8A is a resolution approving a subdivision and vacation of right-of-way for 107 East Camp McDonald Road. Mr. Peterson, you worked through this also with the applicant as well through the Plan Commission Zoning Board. If you could please give a brief synopsis.
Thank you very much, Administrator Wade. First, I want to let you know that Pastor Paul Calvin Lindstrom from Church of Christian Liberty, the owner of the property, is online. Also, their attorney, Mr. Ron Schwartz, should you have any questions for them. This property, 107 and 105 East Camp McDonald, are 2 separate lots that are separated by a 20-foot public walkway easement that was platted approximately 70 years ago. The church has been using the house on 107 East Camp McDonald with the driveway on the walkway for a long time as the access to the property. The 105 lot is kind of incorporated as a single lot of record. The church came and they would like to sell the 105 lot, which is a 100% compliant lot. However, if they sell that, because of the right-of-way, the walkway, that makes 107 East Camp McDonald non-conforming to our city codes. Thus, it would limit and restrict them from selling the property. we did not know that that right-of-way existed until this application came forward because it was platted so long ago and being used this way. The city has no desire to establish a walkway between Camp McDonald and Marbury. And additionally, we'll have to address the 2 lots to the south off of Marbury this spring, but that's going to be a little more challenging because over time, those properties have built structures on that right-of-way. But eventually, we'll vacate all the properties, get that 20-foot section back on the tax rolls, and the Plan Commission voted unanimously 5-0 to for the subdivision and the vacation of that right-of-way. I don't believe I missed anything, Pastor Lindstrom or Mr. Schwartz. If you have anything else to add, now is the time to do so.
Not at this time. You have been helpful for us to have this process going forward. We thank you and the village.
So we're looking for approval of resolution R2104, which would grant the single lot subdivision to make the lot 107 East Camp McDonald conforming, and in the process vacate the 20-foot wide public walkway right of way.
We need a motion to that effect from an alderman, please.
Motion to approve item R2104.
I would stop with it, but I have a question.
Let's do a second first, and then we
Okay,
talk.
all right.
And second.
All right, we have a second from Alderman Quinn. Go ahead, Alderman Morgan.
So is the owner of 107 East Camp McDonald's intending to sell that property after assuming that we approve the resolution?
No, at this time, the church plans to keep the 107 East Camp McDonald, which has a structure and their driveway on it presently.
Right.
They're looking to sell the western lot, which is the 105, which has nothing on it at this time.
Okay. I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we had a motion. We had a second. We've had a discussion. Moving on to a roll call, please.
Alderman Morgan Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Quinn.
Aye.
Alderman Dolick.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Alderman Dash.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Moving on, Joe.
Thank you. Yes, item 9B is, 8B is a resolution allowing the city to do work in the right-of-ways. It's a matter of having this on file so that we don't have to go through the permitting process. Mayor, this is my bad. I should have put this on the consent agenda. It's a routine item that we do periodically just to update our what we have on file with IDOT.
All right, after your 50 push-ups, we can move on.
And I'll wear a hair shirt.
So Vicki, a motion to approve?
Yes.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Morgan Adams. We have a second by 2 people. Alderman Dolick was one, I remember. And any other discussions on the topic? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Dolick.
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Quinn.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Alderman Dash.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Joe, what's next?
That brings us to the workshop items. As you mentioned, Mayor, B has been continued, tabled, and 9 is an item that you've suggested is elected official term limits. And we also had an updated memo from City Attorney O'Driscoll, which updated earlier correspondence from Ken Carney.
All right. Any questions from the alderman on this issue?
So this is Alderman Morgan Adams. So so I understand that the council could discuss how to put this together in terms of the whether terms of office would be cumulative of all offices or just one particular office. And I guess from what I understand from reading the memo is that this can be a council vote or it can be a referendum. I just want to make sure that's clear. I'm asking maybe Attorney O'Driscoll this.
So the way it works is that it is a referendum question, and the way it gets to referendum is by way of ordinance by the council, or it gets to referendum by a petition by a certain percentage of the voters.
So first it would be a council would vote for the ordinance, and then it would have to be a referendum, which would require a petition and signatures, and then it would be a referendum at the election, correct?
No, so it's it could be done it can be on the ballot one of two ways. Either a petition by a certain percentage of the folks who voted. If you get enough signatures for it, then it gets put on the ballot. The alternative route is for the council to vote on a resolution allowing it to go to referendum.
Okay. I guess my question is do we really need term limits at this point in time? Is this something that the council, how does the rest of the council feel about the necessity of this?
Well, Wendy, Mayor, this is Alderman Quinn. I'd like to jump in on this.
Go ahead.
My personal, can I say something?
No, go ahead.
My personal take is I believe that term limits are created by the people that we represent. And I think the voters, when they get up and they go and vote, they're voicing if someone's staying in office or not. We're a very small city. We have, 16,000 plus residents, probably less than 5,000 votes in an election, which isn't great. And because we're not home rule, we have wards, aldermen. So I think it might it might create some negativity if you can't get people to run in a certain area. Now, if we were home rule, I believe we would have trustees, and then the issue of having trustees is you could have, 4 people in the same neighborhood or 5 people in the same neighborhood representing the whole city. I just feel as we are right now, the non-home rule community, let the people vote. I don't understand what the problem has been over the past years. It seems like the voters have made changes when they wanted to. So I think it's sort of a non-point right now.
So I understand you don't think it's necessary for the council to deal with a resolution on this issue.
I don't. We have other things to worry about.
I would agree with that. So that would be my position on it as well.
This is Alderman Dolik. I would agree with that, and as was pointed out by Alderman Quinn, with a city the size of ours, I think we could have a hard time finding people who have a desire to serve the city and who would want to run. And just because someone has expired their term limit and they're doing a good job, then we are stuck with or possibly be stuck with finding a qualified candidate to run again. Because of the size of Prospect Heights, I'm not opposed to term limits, but I don't see that it's something that we need to be looking at right now. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Some of you will recall, let me finish a moment, please. There's a big push to put term limits in. Those, at least 2 aldermen, are no longer present as members of this austere group. So I have no objection either way. Who was going to speak?
Yeah, this is Alderman Dash.
Yes, ma'am.
I think if you do some homework, you can obviously find reasons to support term limits and reasons why it may not be a great idea. And it sounds like there's not a ton of support from the other aldermen. Based on some discussions I had, I'm not quite sure that there's a ton of support from the staff level either. So in regard to term limits, I agree that at this point in time, it probably doesn't make sense for us to pursue this in order to make it a potential referendum item for our voters. I would say, though, the topic of staggering terms for our elected officials is certainly something that I think we could consider, whether that's now or at some point in time. I believe that staggering, there's definitely some benefits to that in regards to, how the board is transitions potentially from existing members to new elected officials. And so I think there are some advantages to having a staggered election, but again, certainly not needed to discuss this evening, but maybe at a future point in time if there are other aldermen or if you, Mayor, think that might be a topic we'd want to cover.
I'd agree with that too, Danielle.
As well.
So we'll put this in the cloud somewhere and revisit it when someone would want to revisit it. At this point, we'll take it off the list.
I just want to say, Morgan Adams, I just want to say that I would agree with Alderman Dash that staggered terms would be a more important and probably and actually something that would be worthwhile to pursue at this point. I believe that also requires a petition and a referendum, or maybe not. Attorney O'Driscoll, I know it requires signatures on a petition. Is it the same procedure?
So, because we do not have home rule powers, it is not something that the council can bring forth. So it's something that goes by way of the petition to referendum.
So we need the signatures first, and that can only be done, well, it could be done before the election, correct?
Correct, yes.
And how, for this election, would it be too late?
Yes, it would. I believe it's filing has to occur for about 3 months before the election.
And what is the percentage of votes needed to put on there?
I believe it's 10% of those who voted for whoever 10% of those who voted in the last election for mayor, I believe, off the top of my head.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, presumably there's nothing else to add. So let's move on, Joe. Where are we going? The approval of warrants?
Yes, sir. Madam Clerk, would you please review the warrants?
Okay, thank you. Our total warrants amounted to $230,684.72. We had wire payments on January 29th, 2021. Our payroll posting amounted to $167,085.70. The December Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund amounted to $23,707.61. And the total warrant amount was $421,478.03 for council's approval.
All right, motion to approve as presented.
Motion to approve. This is Quinn.
Second, Cameron.
We have a motion, we have a second, and we have a roll call now.
Okay. Alderman Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Alderman Quinn.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Public comments on, Joe, am I good with this, item 11? Go ahead and take it.
Oh, yes, sir. Public comment on non-agenda matters. Has anyone registered? Or would
No,
anyone
not-
like to speak?
We haven't heard, Joe. So once again, anyone in the public, please step forward, introduce yourselves.
Apparently there are none, which brings us, actually, Mr. Mayor, we have no executive session. It would bring us to item 14, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved. Morgan Adams?
Second, Alderman Quinn.
We have a motion, we say, I like a voice vote with her. Does everyone agree, aye or nay?
Aye.
All
Aye.
Aye.
good.
Aye.
That's always an easy one, right? All right. Thank you very much.